about the ongoing Mueller investigation. On the floor of the House from time to time, many of my colleagues from the Republican side come here to the floor or on cable television and attack Mueller, attack the FBI and anybody else that happens to be standing nearby in an effort to discredit the special counsel's investigation of what happened in the 2016 presidential election. It seems to me that here in America, since the very first days of our constitutional government, we have always said that we are a country of laws and that the laws dictate what we do. We're not a country of individuals that dictate what happens, but rather a country of law. What's happening here in this effort to discredit the Mueller investigation is to move away from that century and a half, well, nearly a century and a half, of profound importance in how people govern themselves, not by the will of an emperor or the will of a king, but rather, or even the will of a president. But we govern ourselves by the laws that are enacted by elected representatives, senators, members of the House of Representatives, in the case of the national government, or legislatures, or county commissioners, county supervisors, city council members. We are a country ruled by laws that are enacted by the citizens. However, the effort to discredit, to derail, to stop the investigation of the appropriate entity, in this case, the Department of Justice, acting through the special counsel, goes contrary to the fundamental foundation of the way in which we govern ourselves. And it is to say that that discrediting, that effort to stop the investigation of whether laws were broken, disobeyed, or not followed, completely undermines the foundation of our government and our relationship as individuals. None of us want to be subject to the whims of an individual, like a king, or an emperor, or a president. We want that, in this case, the president, to act through the law, that is, to follow the law, and, in this case, an agency within the executive branch, the Department of Justice, to carry out its responsibility to determine if the laws have been followed, if there's been a breach of law, if there has been some other element that is contrary to the rule of law. It's that simple. And so I would ask my Republican colleagues here in the House of Representatives and in the Senate, and those that are constantly on cable television who are attempting to knock down the Mueller investigation, to discredit his investigation, to discredit the Federal Bureau of Investigation and other agencies of the federal government, to slow down, to stand back, and to let the operation that is fundamental to our well-being, that operation of enforcing the law, to occur. Let's see where it goes. Let the investigation play itself out and not get caught up in questions of whether the Steele dossier was the reason for the investigations. It was not. Clearly today we've learned from Senator Feinstein, who I thank, and who all of us should thank, for making public the 10 hours of testimony from Fusion GPS available for all of us to see, so that we can, as individuals, judge the validity of the charge that's been made that somehow the Steele investigation is all that this is about. It is not, was not, and is not. It's about information that came to the FBI from multiple sources, including counterintelligence information developed by our intelligence agencies. And that then led to the investigation and eventually to the establishment of a special counsel. So take a deep breath. Let this process unfold. Let the facts lead the way. Let the development of those facts be done. And let us then judge the outcome of the investigation. And it seems to me that a lot of the heat that's been put on the FBI and the Mueller team comes from a fear that there's something to fear. And so the question should be asked, what is it that you fear? Why is it that you're doing so much to try to waylay, to discredit, to stop the investigation? Is there something that you know that the American public should know? Is there something that you fear that Mr. Mueller will find out about the 2016 presidential campaign, about connections to Russia? Do you know something that would cause you to so aggressively try to stop the investigation? Perhaps you do. Well, in which case, come to the floor and share with us. So I'll let it go at that. It just seems to me that we ought to recognize that we are a nation of laws. We are not a nation of king or an emperor or of a president. We are a nation of laws in which the president's task is to faithfully carry out the Constitution and the laws. Now, if you don't like the laws, come here and change them. Or go to the Supreme Court and get a ruling that somehow that law is not constitutional. That's the way we should do it. So, enough of that. Thank you for a few moments to look at this